All right, well, just in case you were not following the market on this shortened session, the market got thwacked. The S&P was down over 2.25%, the NASDAQ was down over 2%, and the Dow got hit hard as well. And this headline sums up the sell-off perfectly. It says, cruise and airline stocks sell off as global health officials track new COVID variant with a large number of mutations. So, just when we thought we could possibly be getting beyond this and maybe even starting the new year off fresh, it looks like we have another variant to worry about. And it says that the EU, the UK, and Japan placed travel restrictions from South Africa where the strain was first identified. And of course, the travel and leisure stocks are getting hit pretty hard on this news. United Airlines down 8.6%, Delta Airlines down 7.8%, American Airlines 7.6%, and Boeing was down 7%. And the cruise lines were hit even harder. Royal Caribbean down 9%, and Carnival down over 10%. So these are huge declines in these stocks, and these type of declines probably haven't been seen since the tail end of the COVID collapse more than a year ago, at least declines of this magnitude. And this is actually the first time I've been interested in these stocks since like the tail end of the COVID collapse. Just because they're starting to get to some pretty interesting price points. Now, there were a lot of technical areas broken on the chart that I will get into in a minute. I don't know if I'll be buying anything just yet because, we are in tax loss harvesting season, and if this thing gains any traction, this variant, that can really compound this sell-off. So prices could get much worse. You better buckle up if this COVID variant, it starts getting worse and worse anyway. But they said in this article that we don't know very much about this yet. What we do know is that this variant has a large number of mutations. And the concern is that when you have so many mutations, it can have an impact on how the virus behaves. So it is going to be interesting to see how this spins out of control. I think this could possibly create some fantastic buying opportunities, but not yet. I'm going to be sitting tight, and if we get a massive sell-off because of this and the tax loss selling, I'm definitely going to be taking advantage. But let's get into some of those charts now. All right, well, I'm going to start off with the market averages first, and as always, I'm going to start off with the QQQ, the NASDAQ. And looking at the NASDAQ, let me zoom in a little bit here. You can see after bouncing off that 21-period exponential moving average yesterday and finding some support, it crashed down below it today and closed below it, so that is a very bearish sign. This is the area that I am watching in the short term. I would expect the NASDAQ to come down to this support level, and this is really only one more day like today, and we'll be right there. The NASDAQ was down 7.77 points, so even though that's a lucky number, it didn't feel lucky today. But I would expect the QQQs or the NASDAQ to come down to this support level and even the 50-period simple moving average before it takes out the previous peak. I would expect it to come down here before, or most likely come down here rather than take out this peak, just because of how this chart is looking. Plus, we got all the news about the potential new variant out there, and we got some tax loss harvesting going on, and that has definitely been on my mind. There's a couple of positions that I am holding that I'm considering taking a loss in, just to count that against some of the gains that I've had during the year. But man, the QQQs definitely had a lot of technical deterioration. Let's go to the spider. The S&P 500 was down big, had a huge gap down below the 21-period exponential moving average, that purple line. Now it moved up into it, but then hit it and found resistance and sold off the rest of the day. We can see in after hours, it's also down a little bit lower. So this one I would also expect to be coming down to this previous pivot point right around, call it 450, 350, and then probably going to end up hitting this 50-period simple moving average as well. So I'm not going to be doing any buying until we get down to some of these levels. But again, with this gap down that we've had, I would expect it to come down to this level before it takes out the old high that it just made. And if we go to the Dow Jones Industrial Average, or the diamonds, we can see this one has already gapped below that 50-period simple moving average. So a lot of technical support areas have been getting hit today, and we can see the Dow is already blasted below that 50-period simple moving average, and probably this 200 simple moving average is the next stop. So, man, just a lot of bad news on these charts. And if we go to the IWM, you can see the IWM has already crashed below that 200 period simple moving average today. So, last week when I was talking about how some of these other averages were pulling back, but the NASDAQ, the QQQs were actually, heading out towards new highs. It wasn't good for the market to be diverging. Eventually they are all going to get pulled in one direction. And I was actually of the opinion last week that I was thinking everything was going to get pulled up. I was thinking the NASDAQ was going to be able to pull everything else back up, but that is not what is happening so far. It looks like all the other averages are pulling the NASDAQ down. If it was the Dow that was diverging, I would expect the Dow to get pulled back by those other moving averages, but usually the NASDAQ has a little bit more of a leadership role, so that's why I was kind of hoping that it was going to go the other way, but it doesn't look like that is the case. But let's get into some of those airlines and cruise line stocks. All right, the first one I want to start off with is RCL, Royal Caribbean Group, and we can see Royal Caribbean Group is down over 13% today. This thing was almost at $100 just a couple of weeks ago, and now it's all the way down to 68, so an over 30% haircut in just a couple of weeks. This has broken that major trend line. I would expect more follow through to the downside. This is the first time I've actually been excited about the cruise lines since the last month of the COVID collapse. I bought some Carnival Cruise Line and I also bought some American Airline right near the bottom in about the last month or so of this collapse. I got lucky. I had no idea we were going to have this kind of recovery. I ended up selling out of most of both of them. But, if we see some lower levels, I'm probably going to be taking some more positions in the cruise lines, because I do think eventually the world is going to get back to normal, and some of these cruise lines are going to be much higher in the future. Next one I want to go over is Norwegian. I can never remember that ticker symbol. And ticker symbol is NCLH, and we can see Norwegian Cruise Lines has broken that long-term trend line as well. Actually broke it about a week or so ago. This thing was up around $30 a couple weeks ago. Now it's down around 20. So big haircut in Norwegian Cruise Lines as well. Go to Carnival Cruise Lines. We can see Carnival Cruise Lines has broken this channel that it's been in for months and months and months. I actually bought some of this, like I was saying, in the last month of the COVID collapse or so. I think my average cost was around $13, so actually a little bit higher. Sold out of most of it right around 26, but I might have to buy it back because I can certainly see Carnival, once the world gets back to normal, being a $40, $50, $60 stock in the next 3 or 4 years. So definitely interested in picking up some more Carnival. We can get back towards those lower teen numbers. And last one in this sector is Disney. I know they are way more diversified than just cruise lines, but this one might be the best opportunity, because they are probably going to get dragged down if this variant continues to pick up steam. And Disney built out their streaming service much faster than anticipated because of the shutdown. So this one might end up representing a pretty good value if it gets knocked down another, 10-20% or so. So Disney is one that I already do own, and I'm definitely going to be adding more if they end up getting crushed on this news. But let's actually go to the airlines. Let's start with American Airlines, and American Airlines has broken this very important support level, so that is not a good thing. Had a little bit of a move back up towards the end of the day, but I would expect more downside movement in American Airlines. Let's take a look at Delta. Take a look at Delta Airlines, the same exact thing, and we're going to see a lot of that with the airlines breaking major support today. So I would expect more follow through to the downside in Delta Airlines. Take a look at Southwest Airlines. This thing is coming up on that major support area I have on the chart right around 42.25. So I wouldn't be a bit surprised if it makes it down to there. And that might not be a bad area to start picking up some Southwest Airlines. I'm going to have to strongly consider that. And next one is UAL. UAL, the same thing. I mean, a lot of these charts are looking the same, just breaking some long-term support today. And if we look at the JETS ETF, which is JETS, of course, same exact thing. So breaking some long-term support in the entire sector. So I would expect some more follow through to the downside, but that is actually starting to pique my interest in some of these. I'm going to be watching these very closely over the next couple of weeks. Hopefully we get a little bit of a flush out of some of these, because if we do, I'm going to end up taking a position in at least one or two of these, because I don't think that the world is headed for another complete shutdown. I could be wrong. I could be early on this trade. But, you know, my instincts are telling me that this is probably going to be a little bit overblown. And I'm going to look for some opportunities in these two sectors. All right, so let's get into my trading activity for the day. And all I made today was a couple of day trades, but they both worked out. So that, of course, is a good thing. But I kind of wish that the market wasn't acting so bipolar, because I'm kind of getting tired of just talking about day trades. I really want to get back into some swing trading. But until the market, you know, chooses a direction and sticks with it, you got to take what the defense gives you, and it's not giving a whole heck of a lot. So I'm just going to stick to the small trades that are working. And by the way, if you want to know what we are trading in real time, I do have a Patreon group. It's only $10 a month, and the link is down there in the description. And if you don't mind hitting the like button, that helps out the channel, and that is free. But let's get into how this trade shaped up. The first one was an AHPI. Let's go to the minute chart. Let me go back in time here. Actually, let me situate this. There we go. Let's go back in time a little bit. I was looking for a break of this candle right here, and I actually got in a little bit early. I usually like to wait at least 15 minutes, but this price action was looking so good, I jumped in just a little bit early. I put in my order at $8.15, and I was executed at $8.18, and I got in on this candle. And this actually happened at 9:42, so this was only 12 minutes into the day. Like I said, I normally try to wait for at least 15 minutes, but this price action was looking so juicy, I had to jump in. And I got out at $8.64. So on this candle right here, this candle went as high as $8.73. So probably could have held on for a couple more cents, but I don't need to split hairs. But if I would have held on about another half an hour longer, this thing made a high of around 9:41. So I would have made more than double, but you know what they say, hindsight is 20/20. I'm not going to pretend that I would have got out at that high. All I'm looking for is an initial break of this first resistance area anyway. I just want to catch this first blast up. If I don't get too greedy and only grab about, 4, 5, 6%, depending on the stock, it tends to work with a pretty high degree of accuracy. So I'm happy with what I got. But just for laughs, let's see where this thing went. Yes, this thing actually went substantially higher than where I sold at one point. If I would have got jackpot lucky and sold near the high, right around 978, I would have made, quite a bit more. But I am not bothered by where I got out at all. And actually, ironically, this thing ended pretty much where I bought it at. So you don't see that very often. But let's go to the next trade. And the other one that I bought was BFRI. This one was up big again, and let's go to that minute chart. And this one actually got halted as soon as I got into it, and I absolutely hate that. Normally, I don't even take more than one day trade on the day, but I got in and out of the other ones so quick. And this one, I had my order in when right about here when it looked like it was going to break out, but I left my order in to get in on a break of $7.65, and this thing just immediately exploded up and stopped me in at $8.68. So that actually wasn't a bad execution at all. My executions have been terrible lately, but I will take that one. But as soon as it stopped me in, it just got halted. It got halted for these 4 minutes in a row, and I'm just kind of sitting there hoping, wishing, praying that this thing opens in my favor. I've seen these things go up like this, get halted, and then just gap down so many times. So every time I see it get halted like this after I get in, I'm always nervous, but thankfully it opened to the upside. I got out at $8.24. So on this candle right here, and that candle went as high as $8.33, and then it just kind of rolled over. See, if I don't hold on too long and just take 4, 5, 6%, tends to work out pretty good, because more often than not they tend to roll over rather quickly. But I think that this stock actually finished rather strong. Let's see where this thing ended up at. Yeah, it had a very nice push up. If I would have been fortunate enough to get out on this candle, This thing actually made it as high as $9.49. So, like I said, I don't pretend that I'm going to get out on the high of these, but I think it's just kind of fun to check and see how high it did go. But those were the 2 day trades that I made today. Okay, everyone, that is all I have for this video, so I'm going to end it right there. But if you have any questions or comments on any of these stocks, or if you have any other ones you want me to take a look at, please leave it down there in the comments section. I will get to them as soon as I can. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end, and until next time, take care, everybody.